Welcome to our Bluesound Pulse Soundbar unboxing and comparison to the Sonos Arc.
Hey MediaHead, so welcome back. As you guys saw, I had the Bluesound Soundbar unboxing video that we just released. If you do not like subwoofers, if you do not like the big boxes that go in the corner that produce all the low end, this is really the only soundbar that you have an option for. And that's because it's the only soundbar that can actually hit low frequencies. This soundbar is flat till about 60 hertz, and then it actually it drops about 3 dB and then goes all the way down to 25 hertz. It does have HDMI Arc, which means that you can just control it with your Roku remote, which I'm a big fan of. Makes things simpler. It means that you don't need a universal for it. Essentially, your TV remote will control the soundbar. You get an app for everything else. So tweaks like adding deep bass, adjusting the EQ, that all is going to be done through the Bluesound app. It is the only soundbar in even close to this price point that has a subwoofer out. That will allow me to use the BlueOS wireless subwoofer, or I can plug in any subwoofer I want to this soundbar. The amount of low end from this soundbar is astounding. It is the only soundbar that, in my opinion, doesn't have to have a subwoofer. Now, I believe that it is better with a subwoofer, but it doesn't have to have one to give you good sound. It's the only soundbar that can actually hit low frequencies. Super impressed, and I believe being able to do that puts this soundbar in a league of its own. Between that and the BlueOS app, it is astounding. I wanted to compare it to a Sonos Arc because that's the #1 soundbar in the world, right? How we did this experiment, we all sat in a room, we tried to get gain balance as good as possible. We messed around with EQ on both the soundbars. We did the room tuning with Sonos Arc, and that seemed to be the best way for the Arc to sound. This one, we actually didn't adjust anything. We did turn on deep bass, which that made a huge difference with this soundbar. First, we listened to a track that I was really familiar with. It's Rain by Sleep Token. I was not surprised to find that this soundbar has considerably more low end than the Sonos soundbar, but I was thoroughly surprised by the mids and the highs. This soundbar is a lot more focused than the Sonos Arc. If I close my eyes and sit in front of the soundbar while it's playing, it's almost like a wall of sound. I don't really see where the audio is coming from. The Arc does it really well. I would not say anywhere near this well. I found that whenever the Arc was playing, the audio was definitely a little bit more blurred. I couldn't really define where instruments were. It was almost like the difference between listening to stereo and mono. This isn't me saying that the Sonos Arc is bad. In fact, it sounded good. This just sounded better. We would have been able to tell it in a blind test. In fact, their test was blind. I was switching between the two soundbars and they were right on top of each other. And every single time, they knew which one was which. There's a $100 difference in price, but this soundbar also includes a wall bracket and the Sonos Arc doesn't. So if you do need to mount it to the wall, the Sonos Arc mounting bracket costs pretty much the difference between these two soundbars. If you already have the Sonos ecosystem, that's where I'm gonna have to put an asterisk near my answer. Sonos works very well, and if you're happy with an ecosystem, don't change out just because a guy on YouTube says that this soundbar is better. You know what? Yeah, this soundbar is better than the Sonos Arc. Is it better than the Sonos Arc with a subwoofer? No. The Sonos Arc with a subwoofer outperforms this soundbar. That's why we have our design services. Hell of a job to Bluesound for doing this. This soundbar has blown me away, and it might be the first soundbar that ends up in my collection. I'm a fan. Thank you.